Thank you very much, and certainly appreciate you all sitting through the presentation here. I'm Dan Wilton, the CEO of First Mining Gold. I will be making a few forward-looking statements as we go through the presentation. What is First Mining? We're a portfolio of about 11 million ounces of gold in 6 projects in Canada, one of the largest undeveloped gold portfolios in the industry. Trading at about 125 million Canadian market cap, so very low on a per ounce basis. We're really focused on advancing 2 projects, Springpole, which is a 5 million ounce open pit gold project in northwestern Ontario, and our Gold Lund project, which is another open pit prospect that we're continuing to drill on, also located in and around Dryden, Ontario. So those 2 projects plus 4 other projects that in my background as a private equity investor were exactly the kind of projects that private equity people spend their time looking for. 100% owned, past producing mines, well understood metallurgy, great infrastructure. Those are the portfolio projects that I think give some real optionality to the company, and we're doing some important work to understand the value of those projects and how we move them forward. I would be remiss in not saying we're trading at a significant discount to our peers. I'll talk a little bit about that. The basics here, about 120 million market cap, a little bit more than $5 million cash on hand at the end of September. Largely retail shareholder base, which is in part sort of where the company came from. Better than average share trading liquidity. We still trade more than 1 million shares a day on average on the TSX. And another, almost 500,000 OTC in the U.S., covered by 4 analysts, and we're grateful for their time and attention. This portfolio, interestingly, was put together in 2015, 2016 by Keith Neumeyer, who's the CEO of First Majestic, well-known guy in the mining sector, and a few like-minded individuals who decided to form a public company to go buy unloved projects. And so they kind of scoured the world and bought 8 projects or companies in about 12 months. So the point that we like to make on this is that this portfolio has been together since about the middle of 2016. At the time when it was put together, the value of the company was $630 million. And all that's happened since then is we've done 40,000 meters of infill drilling and a new resource on Gold Lund. We've taken Springpole through the permitting process. 2 PEA updates on Springpole to better understand the economics and scope of project. And the market cap is down at 120-ish million Canadian. So we think that there's exceptional value here, and I think it'll demonstrate this portfolio has really good leverage to increases in gold price that we're kind of not really being rewarded for right now. We trade at about $8 an ounce relative to your average North American developer who trades at about $30 an ounce. So as I like to say, it's a 4x return on reversion to the mean, which is not a bad bet. And those of us who were in the industry in 2010, 2011 know that in more robust times, like this gold price should be telling us, gold projects would trade upwards of around $100 an ounce. So we think there's some great leverage in our valuation here. The core of our portfolio is located in Ontario, Canada, in northwestern Ontario. This is a great place to develop projects, outstanding infrastructure. The town of Dryden is a town of 10,000 people built around a pulp mill. Most of the forest in the area is commercially harvested forest. Lots of activity up there. Good, hard-working local communities of people who understand what it's like to go to work in the winter when it's minus 40 and work outside, and they still go to work anyway. So that's a testament. And this is not remote. The Dryden and Kenora are on the Trans-Canada Highway, power infrastructure, natural gas infrastructure, everywhere that you would want. Anything that you could ask for in this area. It's a great place to develop projects, and very supportive and engaged local communities and Indigenous communities that we work with as we move the projects forward. So I'll touch briefly on Springpole. This is one of the largest undeveloped open pit projects in Canada, about a 5 million ounce project. the average annual gold production in excess of 400,000 ounces a year in the main part of the mine life of this project. This is big enough for anyone in the world to care about. So we are, we'll talk about, we're taking this project through. It's in the permitting process right now. We have a goal of submitting our environmental impact statement and completing our pre-feasibility study over the course of 2020. We've just updated the economics of the project in an updated PEA to reflect some metallurgical work that we had done. This showed a post-tax NPV of Springpole of 840 million US at a $1,300 gold price, a pre-tax NPV of 1.7 billion US at a $1,500 gold price. So there is real leverage to the size and scale of this project. And as I said before, lots of great infrastructure in the area. Power in the area is getting upgraded. There's roads within 35 kilometers of the project. And this is an area about 100 kilometers away from Red Lake, Ontario. A great place and great operating and permitting infrastructure. Regulators around here really understand mining, and that helps us as we move the project forward. The game plan at Springpole, the deposit is a big open pit target. It's basically a homogeneous intrusive ore body that's all consistently mineralized all the way through. But the game plan, it sits under the bay of a lake. So the game plan is building less than a kilometer of cofferdams and dewatering this part of the lake to build the open pit mine. And so this raises some questions around permitting. Is this going to be possible? We have 7 years of environmental baseline reports and really well-studied aquatic habitat that says this is something that we think we can get permitted. This just talks a little bit to the economics and the scope of the project, but again, one of the largest development projects in Canada, and interestingly, all-in sustaining costs in the low 600s. I think it really speaks to the potential robustness of this project going forward. And I talked a bit about the sensitivities to gold price at the bottom of the page there. So as I said before, game plan over the course of the next 12 months is completing PFS. We've just announced a partnership with Ausenco, the engineering firm, to help us move the project through PFS, which we're very excited about, and get the environmental impact statement submitted by the end of next year. That starts a pretty reliable 18 to 24-month permitting process in Ontario. And this is a jurisdiction that's permitted 3 big open pit mines in the last 3 years. So I can't think of a better place that you could be permitting a project. And I'll touch briefly on our Gold Lund project, which, as we like to say, one of the best open pit potential development projects in Canada that no one's ever heard of. It's a little bit more than 800,000 ounces of an indicated resource at almost 2 grams. Total resource, you add another 870,000 ounces of inferred at about 1.5 grams. But the exciting thing at Gold Lund is a big regional exploration potential, which where we have been drilling on over the last year, having stepped out 10 kilometers to the northwest from the Gold Lund main zone. And having had success in, some results like 140 meters of 1.9 grams from surface, 200 meters of 1.6 grams from surface, 41 meters of 4 grams. And this is at a satellite deposit that's not at all in our existing resource. So we think there's lots of room not just to grow here and have this come into resource, but ultimately for this to really be seen as a multiple resource district, and we think ultimately that's where this project is going. We won't touch much on the other projects that we have, but each of them, as I said before, are at or around million-ounce past producing mines with great infrastructure, and ultimately we will find partners for these projects. We haven't been in an environment to really be able to find cash buyers for them recently, but we're having a lot of people asking us if they can spend money on our projects to de-risk them and move them forward. So I think you'll see some activity on that front. And at that, I will end it there. Thank you very much for your time and your attention.